Behind closed doors, Joseph's greatest test begins. Welcome back to this journey through the incredible story of Prophet Yusuf. Pairs, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next episode. In the last episode, we followed Joseph's journey from the darkness of the well to the palace of Egypt's Aziz. What seemed like a tragic ending became the beginning of Allah's perfect plan. But every blessing comes with a test, and the test awaiting Joseph would become one of the greatest lessons of faith, purity, and self-control in human history. Years had passed since Joseph first entered the palace as a young servant. The frightened boy who had once been abandoned in a lonely well had grown into an extraordinary young man. Allah had blessed him with wisdom, knowledge, patience, and unmatched beauty. His character reflected honesty, humility, and unwavering faith. Everywhere he went, people respected him. His words were gentle, his actions sincere, and his heart remained firmly attached to Allah despite everything he had endured. Inside the palace, Joseph carried out every responsibility with excellence. The Aziz trusted him completely. He had watched Joseph mature over the years and had never once found him dishonest or careless. Joseph treated everyone with kindness, whether they were servants, workers, or members of the household. He never sought power or recognition. His greatest concern was pleasing Allah in every action. But while Joseph remained focused on righteousness, another story was quietly unfolding behind the palace walls. The wife of the Aziz saw Joseph every single day. She witnessed his maturity, his wisdom, and the remarkable dignity that surrounded him. Unlike many young men, Joseph never behaved arrogantly because of his appearance. His beauty was matched by modesty, and his strength was balanced by humility. These qualities, instead of making him ordinary, made him even more extraordinary in her eyes. At first, her admiration remained hidden. She convinced herself that it was nothing more than appreciation for a trustworthy young man who had become an important part of the household. But admiration has a dangerous habit. If it is not controlled, it grows. Days became weeks, weeks became months. The feeling she tried to ignore slowly became impossible to hide. Every time Joseph walked through the palace halls, she found herself watching him. Every conversation lingered in her mind long after it had ended. His honesty attracted her. His kindness fascinated her. His purity made her desire him even more, yet Joseph remained completely unaware of the battle taking place inside her heart. His thoughts were occupied with something entirely different. He remembered Allah. He remembered the lessons his father Jacob had taught him as a child. He remembered that no matter where life took him, true success belonged only to those who remained faithful to their Creator. As time passed, the wife of the Aziz could no longer control her emotions. The palace that had once been filled with peace slowly became a place of inner conflict. She knew her feelings were wrong. She knew Joseph belonged under her husband's protection. She knew that crossing this boundary would betray both her husband and her own honor. But desire often blinds people to consequences. Instead of fighting her temptation, she allowed it to grow stronger. Then came the day that would change everything. The palace was unusually quiet. Many servants had left to carry out their daily duties. The long hallway stood empty. The silence itself seemed unusual. Joseph continued his work as he always did, unaware that every detail had been carefully arranged. The wife of the Aziz had been waiting for this moment. She chose a time when they would be alone. One by one, she ensured that the palace became empty. Then she called Joseph. Her voice sounded calm. There was nothing in her tone that suggested danger. Trusting the household he had served faithfully for years, Joseph answered her call without suspicion. As he entered the room, she quietly walked toward the doors. One after another, she closed them. Then she locked them. The outside world disappeared. The room became completely silent. Joseph immediately realized something was wrong. The atmosphere had changed. This was no ordinary conversation. Standing before him, the wife of the Aziz looked directly into his eyes. Years of hidden emotions had reached their breaking point. There was no longer any attempt to conceal what she felt. The palace that had once offered Joseph safety had suddenly become the place of his greatest trial. No brothers stood before him with hatred. No caravan planned to sell him. No well threatened to swallow him into darkness. This test was different. It was invisible. It was a test of the heart, a test of character, a test that no one else would witness except Allah. In that silent room, Joseph understood that he had only two choices. He He could surrender to temptation or remain loyal to the one who had protected him through every hardship since childhood. Without hesitation, his heart made its choice. Before fear could overcome him, before desire could whisper, before weakness could enter his soul, Joseph remembered his Lord. And that single moment of faith would change the course of history forever. Boy determined. The moment Joseph remembered his Lord, every doubt disappeared from his heart. He knew that no pleasure in this world could ever be worth losing the pleasure of Allah. Standing before the wife of the Aziz, he immediately rejected what she desired from him. With complete sincerity and unwavering faith, he sought refuge in Allah. He reminded her that her husband had treated him with kindness and honor ever since the day he entered the palace. Betraying that trust would not only be a terrible injustice, it would also be a sin before the one who sees everything. Even when no one else is watching, Joseph understood that true integrity is revealed when a person is tested in private. No crowd was watching him. No family stood beside him. No one would have known what happened behind those locked doors. But Allah knew, and that alone was enough for Joseph to choose righteousness over temptation. At that moment, he proved that real faith is not measured by what we do in public, but by the choices we make when only Allah is our witness. When the wife of the Aziz realized that Joseph would never surrender, her emotions turned into desperation. As Joseph rushed toward the exit, hoping only to escape the situation without harming anyone, she chased after him. He reached the door first, but before he could leave, she grabbed his shirt from behind with all her strength. The fabric tore down the back as he pulled himself free. At that exact moment, the door opened, and standing before them was the Aziz himself. In an instant, the silence inside the room was shattered. Knowing she had been caught, the wife of the Aziz immediately tried to protect herself. She accused Joseph, claiming that he had intended evil against her and deserved severe punishment. For a brief moment, it appeared that the innocent might be blamed, while the guilty escaped responsibility. But Allah, who had protected Joseph from the well and guided every step of his journey, was not about to abandon him now. Then Allah caused the truth to appear through an unexpected witness. Someone from the household proposed a simple way to determine what had truly happened. If Joseph's shirt had been torn from the front, it would suggest that he had approached her. But if the shirt had been torn from the back, it would prove that Joseph had been running away while she pursued him. The evidence was undeniable. The shirt was torn from behind. In that single moment, the false accusation collapsed and Joseph's innocence became clear. The Aziz recognized what had happened and understood that his wife had spoken falsely. He told Joseph to let the matter pass and instructed his wife to seek forgiveness for her wrongdoing. Although the immediate crisis had ended, its consequences were only beginning. Secrets rarely remain hidden for long, especially inside a royal palace where whispers travel faster than truth. News of the incident slowly spread throughout the city. Women from the highest circles of Egyptian society began talking about what had happened inside the house of the Aziz. Some mocked his wife, wondering how a woman of such status could lose control over her emotions because of a young man she herself had welcomed into her home. Others laughed, criticized, and judged without knowing the full reality. Their conversations echoed through the streets and the noble houses of Egypt, turning a private event into the talk of the city. But the wife of the Aziz was not willing to accept their ridicule. Deep inside, she believed that if those women ever looked upon Joseph with their own eyes, they would understand why she had struggled so fiercely against her feelings. Determined to prove her point, she began preparing something that would astonish every one of them. Joseph had escaped temptation, but his trial was far from over. In fact, it had only entered a new and even more dangerous stage. The whispers spreading across Egypt would soon lead to an unforgettable gathering, one that would leave the women of the city speechless and reveal even more clearly the extraordinary character of Allah's prophet. Yet Joseph's greatest strength would continue to be the same as it had always been, his unwavering trust in Allah. What happened next would become one of the most powerful lessons of modesty, patience, and faith ever recorded in history. But that extraordinary moment awaits us in the next episode.